It's never easy when your justice system, justice department, people in law enforcement have made you a target, have decided that you need to be going. I have went through a lot these last few years. I've seen too much. My life changed completely. Of course, I'm not happy with it. They expected to take me out with no problem. They figured it would be an in and out operation, in and out deal, have it over with no repercussions, until I caught them and realized what they were trying to do. Then it all changed. I don't want anybody hurt. I definitely don't. I don't want anybody to suffer off of what happened to me. But I think justice needs to be served. I think the real truth needs to come out. And how deep that rabbit hole goes, though, it's sick. It really is sick. How many people involved, what it stems off of. I never intended to have the enemies I have. They created themselves. They created what this problem is. I didn't. I definitely didn't. I had a drug addiction, and I had a past that led me into that drug addiction that I just couldn't get a handle on. Until this last time. This is the best I've done my whole life. And I'm not perfect, but who is? I mean, you show me one perfect person out there. Please, anybody. You show me one perfect person out there. Besides the written about Jesus. You show me one perfect person out there. What they've done is they've built a world around me that wasn't true. God knows what else they've done. But what I seen what they did is scary, terrifying even. They followed me around. Some of them, not the whole thing from 2020, 2021. They followed me around though since about 2010, 2009, 2010. They started following me around and creating a life outside of my own and saying and making it out like it was who I was. I believe some of them lied to other people and said I tried kidnapping people, my own kid, which was a complete lie. There's no factual evidence behind that at all because it never happened. But I did have a scenario where one of my children was kidnapped off of me, and that's definitely got a lawsuit behind it. So that's a true story. But the one made up about me wasn't true. No. My mother being murdered when I was 19 had a lot to do with my drug addiction. Her killer being my stepfather, and then him telling me how he did it and got away with it, and me going to law enforcement about it for many years over, and then them trying to cover the whole thing up. That had a lot to do with my drug addiction. When nobody will listen to you because they know that you're just a single male by yourself with no family, nobody to back you up, they're literally just waiting for me to go away and or die some way, shape, or form, be gone, so that they don't have to hear my testimony about my truth, about what I know that they know actually happened. But they tried to cover the whole thing up. And then certain people in that, more closer to the end, knew the truth and still tried letting it be covered up so that the truth wouldn't come out, because they'd rather me hurt. They'd rather me have pain and suffering than to even have any type of life, because of their personal hate towards me. That is just... So, when I realized in 2021 what's happening, I started making videos and calling it out. But they just kept coming back in. And not only into my phone and my stuff, but they were anybody I went around, they were in theirs as well. Some of what they did was illegal. I know that. But they didn't care. They didn't care. It was more important to them to take me down than to have any truth come out at all. Along the time they had their investigation going on me. They were blocking my phone calls. They had my phone tapped completely, which lets me know the FBI involved in this either has splinter cells, or it just completely allowed this, what happened to me, with no care about me, my mental state at all. Because they know what I've seen is real, is true, but they'd rather me suffer than to let the truth come out at the whole time. Because in 2021, when I called them out, if they would have listened to me and let that truth come out, none of the other stuff would have happened. None of it would have happened. Me talking on Facebook with certain people, they don't want any of them transcripts to be seen, because then they'll see the path of me bringing up that I was being investigated from the time I caught on to it all the way up until the time of Michael's death. What they figured was the day of that call, our phones were still tapped. Somebody's phone was still tapped, because the people that showed up that day should never have shown up. Should have never been there. And if them people didn't show up, he would still be alive. They slowed the process of the ambulance and police getting there. And if they cared about anyone's life at all, they would have brought Narcan to him when they showed up. But since they thought it was me that day, they showed up with intentions of letting me die from the overdose. That's exactly what it was. But then when they realized it wasn't me and it was someone else, they figured if they let him pass away, I would have to deal with it, because they figured I had to have had something to do with it. When in reality, it was the phone call and them showing up that was the real reason why any of that happened. But they don't want that truth to come out. Because not only was that a horrific event, but what it stems off of and how it started and how it came to be the investigation that it was out of pure hate towards me and personal gain for a couple people in my from my past that are in law enforcement. That truth they don't want to come out, though. When the government started talking about the FISA and the memo that went out from the FBI to let investigators and informants in churches with people who were thought to be extremists, that was me. Guaranteed that was me they were talking about. The day I got baptized, under my own will, my own want, they literally had other people there watching me, trying to make it out to be something more than it was. Sad, sad situation. I have to live with this every day. I'm not going to stop bringing it up until someone does something about it. That's it.